seconds. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Vivienne. How is everything?
It's jolly good. We have an amazing show today, Rosemary, and technology-wise, I just hope I don't screw up, because we do know that in the hair department, anything can happen, but in technology, I don't know. It can be crazy. So how was your week?
You know, it's been an adaptation, but you know, as you get yourself back into the swing of things are moving right along. You know, it's just to be mindful of where you are and the reason where we came into this industry. That's what I always remember from my hair heroes like yourself and our lovely guest today. So.
Yes, and it's like a bicycle. Once you learn how to ride it, you don't really forget. You may be a bit wobbly on the return, but for some strange reason, you do remember. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to our friends who are joining us today. Thank you so much. Maybe it's your lunch break. Maybe you just woke up, or maybe you've had an amazing day and you're going to bed, because we have people joining us from all over the world. If you're going to be joining us later on this evening, when we have when we're no longer live, I will be alive. I'm not planning on going anywhere, but when the recording is not live, we hope you enjoy this and we'd love to hear from you. And we're just excited to have this opportunity to share extraordinary talent. And for me, it's been really fascinating to look at who I admire in this industry. There are some incredibly talented people at the top of our business who inspire us and who motivate us. And each time I reach out to one of the guests, I am in awe of their story, because one of the first things I ask for is their bio, and I start to look at the body of their work. And as much as I think I know about the person, because I've been following them for years, my respect and my gratitude for what they have done and how they've personally inspired me just goes up to a whole nother level. So I have gratitude to every single hair hero who's been on our show. And today is going to be extremely special with our amazing guests who you're going to meet in a few moments. But let's start today off with something fun. We're going to go back in time, aren't we, Rosemary?
Exciting. I love going back in time. Back to the future.
And this was shot in, I believe it was 2014. And it was just the beginning of some of the bright colors that were taking place. And at that time, my husband had this bright idea. He wanted to have chickens, not one, 50. He wanted them to be designer chickens. So we had 50 chickens running around our garden, freestyle, and they grew up to be these amazing birds that were so inspirational. So I thought, wow, I'd love to do a collection based on the plumage of these chickens and roosters. And I reached out to the amazing Sue Pemberton, who, as you know, is an extraordinary colorist. And I said, Sue, are you open to color this collection like the bird's feathers? She was like, oh, Viv, I don't know, that's a bit much. And I said, well, my inspiration is not only that, but what else was it, Rosemary?
Japanese pop culture.
Yes, yes. At the time, Japanese pop culture, the street trends were really huge. And I'm sure to some degree it's still happening, but it was such an inspiration. So I think that it would be a great way to start off this highly creative session that I hope more than anything else truly inspires you. And if I can do what Trevor Sorby used to say to me so often, Viv, when I present to people, I want them to fall back more wildly in love with hair and be excited about going back to work, because that's where we live, isn't it? So I'm going to now go over to my screen and make sure I do this right. It's
Cold
I love it.
I don't even know what they're saying. I hope that in Japanese it's happy. I'm sure they're not talking about a chicken.
I don't think so. No, but it was gorgeous, gorgeous collection.
You know what? Inspiration is all around us, and I just you're going to certainly get very, very inspired. So let me tell you about my extraordinary guest. I have had the honor and pleasure of knowing Damien Carney for many, many years. We go back to our Trevor Sorby days where we first met. And I remember when he walked in, it was like my heart skipped a beat, because not only is he gorgeous to look at, there was just something so charming about his presence and the way that he would have every single person in the room feel loved and cared for. And he had charisma, and he still does, and charm. And that charisma and charm, I think, is a big part of what has made Damien so successful, because he's had an incredible career, an international career. He's been around the world more times than you can imagine. I think his arms must ache from all the flying and the flapping. He's had an incredible career. And also the other thing that is amazing about what he's done is he's tapped into so many different aspects of our profession, from fashion to celebrity, to work obviously in the studio, from runway work. So he's played in the entertainment world, played in the salon world, a phenomenal teacher and educator. He's stood on many a platform for great product companies. So truly a man with such versatility. And now he is doing, well, in the most recent years, photography, as well as still doing hair. So today I wanted to just kind of dive into his amazing mind, and I want his mind to guide my hands. I don't want Vivienne's hands. I want Damien's hands. So I want to get out of the way, and I want to show you the process of being guided and directed by an awesome person. So let's just take a look at some of his beautiful work. So I'd like to introduce to you the fabulous Damien Carney. Yeah!
Hi, Vivienne. How are you? Hi, Rosemary. How are you?
Hi.
What a treat for me this afternoon. Oh, my Lord. Thank you.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here, Damien. So I just want to tell our friends, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Please send out some information to your friends. Let everyone know where you are right now and say, hey, come on in and join. If you've got a break between that client, just come in and join. And Rosemary will be answering the questions. And we are streaming to quite a few different places today. So she is in the Facebook group. So I know we have people on YouTube and so on. Well, just send us in those messages and we will get back to you. So thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you. And I'm very excited to be with two amazing legends. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Rosemary.
So my dearest.
Oh, my Lord, Vivienne. Hallelujah.
So I'm going to jump into some questions. I want people to know a little bit about your mind and how you work, because Trevor always used to say to me, Viv, you know, your clients, yes, they are there for you, for the magic of your hands, but really what they're paying for you for is how you think. And I know that when you've been in worlds like the freelance world, doing session work, the person that they hire to move and manipulate their hair, it's definitely how you think that's going to get you the job, as well as obviously being able to follow directions. So I want our friends to know more about you. So the first thing I want to know is, when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
A hairdresser.
You did?
I always knew, Vivienne, that I wanted to do hair. And we kind of had, you know, I'm one of 8 kids, so I'm third youngest. So I watched my older, you know, brothers and sisters choose careers that were nice, but they got bored very, very quickly. And I vowed that I would choose something that I wanted to do, not my careers officer, not my relatives or brothers, what I want. And I think that's really important. They didn't love their careers after certain years. And I was just fascinated, always fascinated of unisex was the big thing. There was chrome and brown was the big, kind of look for these, unisex salons. And it just looked like everybody looked great. Everybody was having a great time, which they were. Yes. And the transformation of somebody's hair, there was iconic, pop stars like Sweet or Slade or, the glam rock times. And if you had your hair done, it was like you were a movie star.
I should have asked you to show us a photograph of how you were during those days. Did you have brightly colored hair?
No, wasn't that experimental with it. I mean, I was pretty, the way my hair is now, but I mean, I did try different things, but I don't like to wear hair or clothes that draws a lot of attention. I wouldn't want to walk into a room, somebody goes, oh my God, that's really, it's just not me. So I'm a little safe on that kind of aspect. But yeah, to me, I tried many things. It's a little different for a guy than a girl. I mean, there's a lot more range for you sweethearts than there is for guys. But today's different.
Absolutely. So we know that you've played in so many different arenas of the hairdressing world, and we know that you're still based in the salon. But I'd like to sort of just take a moment and explore how you shifted from being the hairdresser of working with photographers to actually going behind the camera, what that journey was for you.
Well, it was, I think, you've always said, we've known each other a long time. I think you got to go in the right places in your career. If you want to be the best editorial hairdresser, the best cutter, the best colorist, you've got to be with the best people. I was lucky because we started up my career after a long intensive retraining program at Trevor Sorbie. So there was areas in the culture of that company that allowed you to do photo shoots or runway or everything else. I think a lot of people miss the boat sometimes when they don't look at just hair out in the salon. This hair can go anywhere. So it's like branches on a tree. There's many concepts, there's many ways of doing hair. So it was literally, connecting with people that were doing that. And it's quite easy today because you can look in a magazine, you can do a lot of research online, you can look for agencies, and you're going to approach people. That was the biggest barrier for me. I was a little concerned, I was a little shy, was I good enough? What could I offer them? But there's always somebody, an editorial hairdresser, a photographer, a fashion stylist, looking for a great hairdresser of many levels. And like anything, a lot of people start at the beginning. And I think that's what's really important.
So we're going to take a look at some of your amazing work, and the images that we're going to jump into here. You took the photograph as well as doing the hair. Is that correct?
That is correct, Viv. Yes.
Yep. I love this. So talk to me about, I just love I love the beauty. I love the lighting. I mean, I love the cleanness of the shot. I love the composition. I love the makeup, but I love how you've got that soft veil, and then you've got these the interpretation of these little gelled pieces. Is it the same hair in both? Did you just use different products?
No, I didn't have the time. What I often do, Viv, is she's a professional girl with a great agency. I shot this in my apartment, which is a small apartment, and you don't need a lot of space. You just need enough to shoot, waist up or whatever the case. So I prepared these little wiglets. They're kind of like half a wig, so there's no back to them. They cost like $30. They're not 100% real hair. I knew I was going to cut them, so I had like 4 or 5 of them pre-done. I basically gel the hair on a wig mannequin block, and then after it, let it dry for 2, 3, 4 days a week. And then afterwards, I went in and cut them. And then I put all the hair back in a little ponytail, put it in a little bun at the back, and then I plonked it on her head. I wanted to, what's important with this, and particularly with this model, she's a very good model, in a country. She's with Marilyn. Marilyn's one of the very successful agencies in New York. So I know that I needed to move through swiftly. Great makeup artist, again, Joanne Gare, who I'll love, and maybe talk a little bit about how we connected with her. Nico, who's a wardrobe stylist. And it was done really quite quickly, only because I did all my prep prior to the shoot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's absolutely stunning. And then this one here, I mean, I love the surprise of the hair exploding to the side and the movement. What does this hair look like when it's down and flat?
It's one of the techniques that you taught me when we were at Trevor Sorbie, which is a theory of round graduation. She had a little bob. She's a makeup artist, and she's done some shoots with me. She wanted to cut her hair off, and she's photogenic. So this is a real haircut. It is not a wig. So you comb it down on the screen left-hand side, it would probably be just sort of halfway over the ears. The other side is taken in really quite tight, cut technically using round graduation, building internally longer lengths with some scissor over comb around the hairline, which creates that really nice graphic tight head shape, and then some length that basically is just being point cut into the hair. I'm not, when it comes to a lot of my haircutting techniques, is what I've learned from you, Viv, and my retraining. I have a logic to what I'm doing and a reason to why I'm doing it. So I'll often mix a very technical haircut with some freehand, or I'll do something very technical, or I'll do something very freehand. So I use my principles of one length graduation and layering. And to me, that has really set me the foundation to all of my techniques that I do now and even in the salon.
And how did you make the hair explode at the side? Was that just the air going on, or did you back?
To be honest, Viv, her hair is so thick that all I did was rub the hair round, like you're rotating and back combing it with your fingers, and I pulled my hair straight out, my hand straight out of the head, and it did that.
Amazing. And I love the moodiness that you create in all of your shots. So what happened with this particular look?
This is the same girl. You remember the slides?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's my other wig. And actually, you know, it's basically a much simpler kind of look. Again, I wanted to have the contrast of a very gelled front area. It was when a lot of people were doing runway and they were putting gel in the hairline and keeping it flat to the scalp. So the fringe is very gelled, but the sides are very dry and basically very fine. So I did a lot of point cutting with that. And again, I just plonked it on her head. The line that you see, yes, there are little tiny, tiny hairs that have basically may have been fixed in retouching. But to be honest with you, what you see is what you get. So I'm a great believer in that. When you're working in your camera, do your best to create the best look and all those pieces to avoid anything that's going to be over photoshopped and everything. So I like the angle of her head, and I like that she's not trying too hard to model, which is very much a look at the last 5 or 8 years. It's kind of like anyone could shoot that, tilt the head. And I like the little, designer shoulder pad, which I believe is Balmain or some amazing designer that Nico would get. Love the line on the eye and the nude lips. It's not rocket science, but I think the aesthetics of hair, makeup and pose and lighting, I think look really quite well.
Absolutely. And I just want to go back to this shot for a second, because one of the things too that I think makes this shot so stunning, because she has a slightly fuller cheek area, is how you've contoured her with the shadows of your lighting. Because just for a moment, guys, just imagine this bland with no depth and no shadow and no moodiness. And then just imagine this for a moment, how it would not be exciting. And also just imagine if she had bright red lips, how it would then take completely away from this look. What I want to draw to your attention is how expensive and the level of taste that is in this. And yes, one could say it's avant-garde, but think about when you're taking your own photographs, get rid of the clutter and noise around you and focus on the hair and really study what you're photographing and ask yourself, how can I create something that is so beautiful and lasting and is, in Damien's work, publishable? Talk to us about these shots.
This was Joanne Gare, who was the makeup artist that did Madonna. She worked with her for years. If you want to get inspired, everyone can Google it, Joanne Gare. She does body painting. And basically, Joanne, to me, brings her makeup to a whole new level. And also, I go back to, surrounding yourself with people that you're going to learn from. And grow with them. So this basically was both of these. The one on the left screen is from my Naha, which I was a finalist for Avant-Garde. But these were the outtakes that I did not submit to Naha because I knew that I wanted these outtakes to be submitted to a fashion magazine. So the one on the left is just simply a cheap bundle of $5 curly hair that I kind of broke down. I manipulated it on a head block and then sculpted it quite flat. Then I got a lighter that you light cigarettes with, and I burnt the edges of her fringe, so it melted it because it's not real hair, it's synthetic.
Wow.
The one on the left is a very simple little layered wig that I bought very cheaply, and then basically I put gel on it. Here you
And
can see two other variations.
how did you make that sort of the square shape on the top?
All I did was I put some a donut underneath it, Viv. I just stacked a couple of donuts that were dark, and then I just built my shape on top of that. And then what I did is I didn't use spray because the hair isn't real hair. And using a lot of hairspray can be very expensive. So I went to Home Depot and basically I just got some clear gloss, which not only gives it shine and acts like a hairspray, but it makes the hair really stiff that it can support the shape that you're going to have.
Amazing. And she's lifting the hair up, correct? At the sides?
Yeah.
Is that long hair from the back?
No, my darling. Where it was dangling down, see where she's holding her hair, where the hair's down on the left image. All she's doing is lifting the hair up herself.
Wow.
I think what's really important, like when people are working photographically, is to be inspired by different angles a model may perform. So I never want my pictures to look like their typical hair shots. So I'll let the model run free. I want you to hold the hair. I don't care how you do it. Let's have some playtime. I want you to put your hand in the picture, but you've got to make the hand look very elegant and make it look part and purposeful to what you're doing contribution-wise to your whole image.
Beautiful, beautiful, stunning. This is incredible. So talk to me about this.
I have to say, it is incredible. And of course, I love shooting beauty. I could shoot faces and makeup all day long. This is Joanne Gare's work again. And she comes with, she's like a magician and she's fearless because she's experienced. And I told her that she could basically do whatever I want. I sent her my images of the black wigs that were being done. So it kind of gave her some kind of guidance, but I would never tell her what to do. These are just little self-sticky little mirrors that she put all on her face. And then she drew a shape around her face. But I love that the girl's looking straight into the camera. I love her lips and I love the gold choker, sorry, the silver choker that again makes it look very graphic. Cropping's really important. It was actually, I recropped it into this. So I went in tighter than the original raw image. So it has a lot of impact. I have to say, I'm very proud of the way that it looks and the makeup they've done. I think strong makeup at its best. And I think a good example of that.
Stunning. So let's now go to something quite different. And I remember when I saw this shot, I thought this is so spectacular, fell in love with the color and thought, wow, this is totally award winning. Who was the person who did this color?
Jania Church. And she, I've known Jania, she's an educator from a company I used to work with, and we stayed in contact. And going back to all of the lovely things that we love about education, she wanted to enter NAHA. But she was frightened. She didn't have the budget, or, you know, all these things that sometimes mentally can stop us. I made it work for her. I wanted her to experience doing it. And I have to say that the color is absolutely stunning. I love the way it blends. I love the white and all these different colors. And as in the actual capture of this, there's literally virtually zero retouching done, apart from maybe a few freckles or bits on his skin. But it was captured as is. And all that does is you get the model to swing their hair very gently. And then you keep pressing the button until you get the right image.
And that's not easy, is it, to get that perfect moment of hair moving? And, you know, when you're either wafting or she's moving, that's an art in and of itself for you, the photographer, to see that moment and capture it. Yeah,
but also the model, I've worked with her a lot and she's very experienced. But the difference of this, Viv, I don't know whether you can see me, you know, shaking it too much, and the difference of just swaying. You're swaying very gently, so the hair swings. Yeah, whereas a lot of people are doing this and it's all over the shop, which is what I used to do. And then all you got to do is just do that and tilt down and the hair will gently swing. Yeah. Do you like that, Deborah?
Yeah, I love that. And do you, when you're creating movement and wind, do you use, I know that you can use, I mean, I've used a leaf blower. Yes, I've used a blow dryer, and I'm really bad with those wafting boards. But there are so many different ways to make hair move if the model can't move. Is there one that you prefer? I guess I suppose if a model, you know, is stagnant, then personally I prefer to use like a board. You know, you do 1, 2, 3, and then the photographer's got to capture it. With a wind machine, if she's moving around and giving it all some kind of emotion, then the wind machine can give it kind of multiple looks. I think the most important thing is again to kind of play with the actual angle of your fan.
and understand where the hair's actually been blown. You know, you might want to direct it above the head and have it swish. But literally, she stood still. I told her it was going to cover her face. And I said, I just need you to move gently. And she just nailed it. So, yeah. But don't worry if you don't get it in those shots. You may have to shoot 30 shots before you get this one hero shot.
This is stunning. She almost looks like Kate Moss.
Yeah.
The way you've sculpted this lovely print around the hair. Talk to me about that.
This is a beautiful model. If you've ever you work with her, name is Paradise, and she is absolutely stunning. What I did was to take a weft of hair. So you've got a weft of hair, just one singular weft. It's dangling all down. The hair was colored. And then on my kitchen top, I just laid it and combed it all through, put a lot of gel on it. And basically the weft was maybe, I don't know, let's say 18 inches long. And left it for 3 or 4 days until it's really crispy. I think I even layered on more hairspray. It is real hair, this. Left it dry. I peeled it off the counter. And then all I did was simply, because it's quite a little flexible, I just wrapped it around the head and I pinned it at the back.
Stunning, stunning. And now in total contrast, I love this neon sensibility. And again, the makeup, just everything about this shot. I love the cleanness of it and just the unity of all of the creatives is just makes it so cohesive. And I always say great style completes, it doesn't compete.
Yep.
This could so easily go wrong, and yet it is so fabulously right.
I agree with you. And I think that to me is trust in a team. And you've got to find the right team. And if you look, you'll find them. And it takes time, right, Vivienne, to get the team. You know, you don't always get it in one shoot. No. So I've worked with Nico, who's an amazing wardrobe stylist. Joanne Gare, again, she knows how to blend those colors beautifully. And although there's a lot going on, there's strong hair, there's strong wardrobe, I think the aesthetics are really good. This is done by Adrian Gazed, and basically he entered this for Naha and got the styling and also the texture category. He was a finalist. So Adrian's work has grown again. And like you, it really gives me a lot of pleasure when I see people grow. And I think it's really important to help each other. I think it's really important to support your mentors or your teams or your salon, and really make sure that you help people go in the right way. Sometimes a little bit of support, a little bit of pushing, a little bit of nodding, a little bit of techniques all mixed in, and it's amazing what you can create. All these wigs were pre-done prior to Adrian going into the studio. So literally all he had to do is take them off, put them on, take them off, put them off. We got these shots, I think, within 20 frames.
Amazing. And then this is totally cool. So when I looked at this, I thought, oh my goodness, I remember during my Sorby days trying to do smooth shapes like this, and you get one area nice and then the other one's a disaster, and yours is perfection. And I love that you've done it on a mannequin. I mean, it is genius.
Well, thank you. I mean, I did this as an experiment, obviously, like we've had lots of time, and I've got my equipment, I've got my photographic equipment. It's just a short little bob with a fringe. I backcombed the underneath quite firmly at the scalp area and at the mid shaft of the length of the hair. As I worked to the top area, top surface, I backcombed it, but lightly. I brushed it out with a Mason and Pearson, tucked it under with a few pins, and then I just shot it. But you got to realize, Vivienne, and everybody watching, that if you were to look at the back, it's a complete mess.
But you did such a phenomenal job. Absolutely.
And the lighting, it's just one light. You know, a lot of people may be getting into photography, whether it's social media, or sometimes you don't have to have a lot of lighting. A lot of my lighting's really quite hard, and I think it gives a little bit of punch. So go onto YouTube, Google photographers, or how to take a picture with your iPhone or your camera, and we're always constantly learning.
And your technical training to go here, because I know that everyone watching is going to say, well, I don't have a fancy camera, I don't have a Hasselblad, and what I have is my phone, where I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, here, my phone. So, the phones are obviously so much more sophisticated. So, yes, how we compose with this, the principles that you're teaching us right now can be applied to the phone.
Absolutely, it's the same. The camera in this is the same camera as in most cameras. It's a bit like a car. It's got 4 wheels, an engine, and a gearbox.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of automation in here. In other words, you can't control it like you would if you had maybe a sort of professional, semi-professional camera. But sometimes you don't need it, Vivienne. You know, if I'm doing social media, I'll shoot on this. The only reason if I'm doing a collection, I would shoot it on a professional camera that has a higher megapixel is that I can crop things and also allows it to be printed. So don't let that be stop you or anybody watching from shooting, because you'll learn a lot from competition, composure. I shoot all of my images of my models. If the person's been tested, I'll do before shots, I'll do side shots. The camera iPhone will tell you whether it's going to work or not.
Absolutely. So guys, if you have the opportunity to, and you have a desire to take your photographic work to that next level, this is the man you need to work with. So check out Damien's website and also read his bio, because it's pages of what he's done. And whether you're going to learn from Damien in hair cutting, hair dressing, or you're going to do a photo shoot with him, just connect with Damien, because you can tell he's an awesome, awesome guy, and you can learn so much. And you know, amazing. And I would love to just be, I said to Richard last week, a broom in your space. And I would definitely want to be a sectioning clip or a broom, so I could be close enough to watch you work. Because, you know, it's we grow up in the industry and we get so busy that we miss not seeing the people that we love working and seeing the magic of their hands and how they work. So an incredible opportunity. So we're going to now change gears. We're going to move into the next segment. First of all, I want to remind anybody who has not seen my ponytail collection, do check it out, because it's a really pretty collection, and there are 50 videos in the collection. And what I'm going to show you today is one of the little samples from what is in the collection. And we're going to go on this lovely journey. So while I get myself ready, just check out this cute little video, and see you.
Gorgeous, Vivienne.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really fun project, and you can imagine, Damien, extremely humbling to do it, because
who shot them? Your images?
Desmond Murray.
Desmond, good old Desmond. What a sweet gentleman, eh?
Oh, amazing. And there's something really magical about working with a hairdresser, which is, I haven't done that before, working with someone who's that awesome. And at first I was really intimidated, thinking, you know, he's won the British Hairdressing Awards, he's really amazing, and he's going to look at me and think, oh, this woman's just so painfully rubbish. But he was so supportive and so lovely. So it was a great experience. So we're going to now I'm actually going to show you how. I'm going to bring her along. Come on, darling.
Oh, hi, Dolly.
I'm going to show you how I got to this part, and then Damien's going to be taking over. So check this out. You can see that I'm doing the elastic bands, and I'm fiddling, and I'm thinking maybe I want it to trail down, maybe I don't, maybe I'll fiddle some more, maybe I'll put an elastic band in, I'll pull it apart, don't pull it apart too much because Damien's going to be teaching you. Let's put it up, which makes it formal. So that was that, and this is where we are. So what I said,
beautiful, gorgeous.
What I said to Damien is the saddest thing of all is when you do a hairstyle that has nothing to do with a lady getting married, and then somebody says, oh, that will make such a beautiful bridal look, and you're thinking, I wanted this to look like fashion. She's not getting married. In fact, she just got divorced. and it's like, oh my gosh, what did you just do? And there's that fine line, and this is very twiddly, which I wouldn't necessarily photograph this. So I actually just want to pull the ponytail. I want to go back to the ponytail idea. And so I just want to take this out and then have you guide me. And we're going to photojournal this. So this example of how we're going to photojournal, you can do obviously with your phone. And you can do something really very, very similar to what we're going to do today. So you saw the fast of how I kind of created this. So obviously when you take the hair down and I hate ponytails that just stick out like that versus either down or higher up. So when you take this down, you obviously have something quite different. So Damien, in your experience and advice, when something starts, and this is, let's do a disclaimer first of all. I love bridal hair when it's gorgeous. I don't like fussy and frilly too much. That's just not my style. But I do admire and respect bridal artists and anyone who does very, very beautiful bridal work. Today, we're not doing bridal. So if the client's sitting there and it ends up that she looks like a bride, doesn't matter how clever this is, it's the wrong look for where she's going. Damien, what is it in your mind that takes it from being bridal into fashion and day?
There's a kind of looseness and there's a certain finish to the hair that I think, you've just taken the back down. And to me, that texture that you've got there actually looks really quite lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
shall I take a picture of it?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. You've already changed that hairstyle by, 30, 40%, right?
Yes.
I'm just dropping the back down.
Yes.
I think what happens is, but it's just my personal style and taste, that sometimes, if something's too rigid and too loose and too done, it can age somebody very quickly. And I think what's important, Viv, is that, and I know that you love fashion and you're aware of what's going on in fashion, we have to make sure that our hair lives in the world of today's fashion. So I think if we look at hair that, I would probably do, or what we're going to move into our next look, it's going to be a lot looser, Viv. Yeah. See, that to me looks like somebody who could be in New York wearing a pair of jeans with a designer bag and you've just dropped the back down, right?
Yes.
What's really interesting, Viv, is that as you start to take the hair down, a lot of people, when they take their hair down, they rush into it so quickly that they're missing good opportunities of seeing shape, texture, and obviously a bit of inspiration. So take the hair down slowly and see where you're going to go with it and everything else. But that's great. But the most important thing, Viv, you and I always know that suitability is most important. So what can be so right for one person that's getting their hair done for a wedding can be completely wrong for another based on face shape, body shape, and everything else. You might have to neutralize roundness. You might have to add volume. Maybe their facial features are too hard. So that's all common sense in your design, right?
Absolutely. So what would you like me to do? I want to be guided by you now. So what we're going to do, Viv, is we're going to add some contrast to your overall look. So to me, contrast is, if it's black and white, it's the very darkest and the very lightest. So where you've got your little ponytail bits, where you've got your elastic bands, what I'd like you to do is to maybe pull that hair out a little bit and give the hair more volume. I want you to, let's imagine the hairstyle increasing its volume by 50 to 60%. So yeah, great, love it. And you can pull it even more, Viv, little tug, get a little angry, yeah. That looks cool. And again, you're going to find your focus. Maybe you're going to build volume at the front. So that's going to give you, that gives you more drama already, right? You want to make somebody look glamorous and, evening or designer. Taking the hair away and increasing the volume on top will make them look that way because you're opening up the face. Would be completely wrong if somebody had, long face. You could pull a little bit out on that side. Looks a little flatter, Viv, right? Yeah. Should I take a picture of it first so everyone can see?
Absolutely, my love. Yeah.
Let me see if I can stay here without having to go.
You're looking good. And when you take that other picture, go a little lower with your camera and shoot up a little bit.
Lower and up. Okay, she's going off here.
Bye, Dolly. Are you taking her over to
You're around. I'm a one-woman show, really.
It looks like she's in the show.
Yeah, definitely a one-woman show. I'm moving my mind around like this. I hope that when I get to work with a human being, I won't be doing this. It's like, come with me, sweetie.
Some people, you have to do that. You have to put them in their position, otherwise they're lost. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just add this to the stream.
She's on this, isn't she? She's so sweet.
Okay, so we're doing the front right now. Oh, you said go up.
Yeah, just a little, yeah.
As long as I don't get her nostrils, huh?
Cool. See, she looks like a supermodel, right? Notice how your angle changed, Vivienne, from going a little lower, yeah? And you can even drop her head down a little bit.
Oh, she doesn't move.
Oh, she doesn't move. Oh, God. Well, can you get a replacement, please? This is just unacceptable.
And okay, so then this is above. Hold on. I can see there's lots of lumps and bumps.
That's okay. That's what we want.
Okay, so now what do you want me to do?
So let's maybe pull a little bit more hair out at the flatter side. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. That would just loosen it up. And then what we're going to do then is start looking at our profile shape. So, you know, where do we want to build? Is your focus going to be a little bit more on the front? Is it going to be a little bit more on the occipital? Yeah, pull it out more, Viv. Yeah.
More parting?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, just pull it out. Yeah. Even if there's no part, that's good. And maybe where you can separate those three areas a little bit, that's it. That's good. Maybe use your fingers like this, as if you're back combing it. So you're rubbing it together and it'll give it a little bit of texture, right?
So it's less perfect.
Yes.
Now should this go up higher now?
Now, again, for everybody that's looking at this, everybody will have a different point of view. To me, this could still be, I think, quite wearable for somebody, you know, if they can support it. We're going to make it bigger because we're going to go for a little bit more drama, right? So contrast means making the bigger areas look bigger, the flatter. If the hair's going to be shiny, make it mega shiny. If the hair's going to be frizzy, make it frizzy.
Oh, it went too light.
It went too light?
Yeah, hold on. I've got to bring my little girl back up here. 1 second. So, turn back so I can see what I'm doing. All right, yeah, she went a little too light.
Yeah, that's still okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it better.
You'll do it better.
This is embarrassing to be taking these pictures with you.
No, it's not.
Oh my gosh.
The interesting thing, Vivienne, whether you're taking the pictures or somebody else, or I'm taking the pictures, we're taking a picture of the same face with a model that doesn't move. So it's interesting. That looks cool. Yeah. Now, you could bring it out and you could make it have more volume, yeah, on through the top area. So pull it out even more, Viv.
Look at the difference.
Yes. Again, there's nothing wrong with the one on the left where it's a little flatter. Maybe if you were making it more fashion, you would make it even flatter on the sides, yeah? On the side where it's flat. But I do like the softness. What's nice about it is you've got movement in the hair that you've used from your previous preparation, but the look is going to look soft because it's got little curves in the hair, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. All right.
So when you've got a pretty texture, you can pull the hair out a lot more.
Shall we go into the back or more in the front?
More in the front, and you're going to pull areas out at the crown, everywhere, Viv. Now, I think it's important that we play, and I think it's important that sometimes there's no rhyme or reason at this moment in time, but already your shape is changing. It's looking more youthful. It's looking less rigid. Somebody else, it might be too messy. Yeah? Cool. Great, love it, Viv. I love that separation and texture. Obviously, also products would help. Not that you need them because you've obviously done great prep. But, you know, if you wanted to make the hair look a bit more editorial, a dry shampoo or a texturizing product that's not wet, yeah? And also, we can put hairspray in the hair, but I usually don't put lots of hairspray because once it's in there, Viv, as you know, then basically it becomes very rigid. Again, you see, that looks great, right? Yeah, she's going into the closet again, into the cubicle.
My photo shoot. Well, look, you know, sometimes people send me pictures of their work, and it's like it's photographed against the washing machine,
yes,
whatever, and it's like, sweetheart, get rid of all the crap so I can actually see the hair.
No, you're absolutely right, because you've got to be in an environment that, you know, you're not distracted by other things, so you stay clear and focused. What's it like if you turn ahead a little bit, Viv? You know? Yeah, cool. How does that look? Because maybe you see a bit of your back.
Then I need wind.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So I think when we look at the profile, all we need to do maybe again with this is kind of, you know, pull the hair out even more. Yeah.
Oh, it's going a bit light, isn't it? Ooh.
Yeah, you're a little light, but that's okay. You know, you can just close down a little bit with your aperture. Let less light go in. Yeah.
Yeah, I should do that one again, shouldn't I? Okay,
Yep.
so then I'm going to now come back, and I'm going to now work on the back.
Yes.
All right. And I'm just also going to bring in Rosemary to see if there are any questions or anything that Rosemary would like to ask about what we're doing right now.
Well, firstly, you have lots of love to both of you. There are a tremendous amount of people who are just loving watching you two work together, and they love your work, Damien.
We love them. We love you, Vivienne, and you, Rosemary. I've watched every single one of these with your different artists, and it is amazing. So thanks for the love, and love back.
Oh, thank you. And Nicholas French is on. So if you guys want to.
Wonderful, talented me. Oh, wonderful to see you or hear from you. Bra, bra, bra. Wonderful.
And Nicholas is going to come back, and we're going to do a whole story on his father, which is going to start off in the 1920s. And we're going to do 3 shows with the different decades. And we're going to then look at his father's work and then do a modern interpretation of his father's work with the wonderful Nicholas French. So we're in production right now. So it'll be very exciting. So
got to watch that one.
Nick. I think, oh, look at that. That's awful.
Okay, so, you'll just pull that back in. Yeah, you'll just push it in a little bit. But everything else looks good. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what happens when you don't concentrate. So then I like to do this, where I take the other side and I go, okay, I like to now work into my mirror, and then sort of everything's reversed with this camera, because it's actually kind of nice to not even see the bands anymore. Do you have a question with this being square, or even like this?
That's exactly right. So you could tuck that under, Viv, and pin it. So it almost looks like a square kind of silhouette at the back.
I'll take a picture like this, and then I'll show everybody. All
right.
But
I have to say, you're doing a great. It's already loosening up. Isn't it amazing? To me, that just looks softer. It looks more relatable. It looks touchable. And at the end of the day, I think that's what it should do.
Can I ask 3 questions? We have some questions coming in now.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question is the blonde and yellow multicolored hair look that you did, Damien. Was that a wig or her real hair?
It is a wig. It is not her real hair. It was entered for NAHA by Gineer Church, who is a great talented person, a great educator. And for NAHA, you can submit wigs. Often in the past, you had to use real models. I think what ended up happening, a lot of people found it very challenging to find real models that would do certain things. So the great thing about a wig, and like what Vivienne's doing with her mannequin, you can do anything that you want. So the most important thing is capture that and let your creativity go.
Okay, thank you. The next one is from Cindy. She's actually in between clients. And she said, is there any advice for compensating for lighting in the salon when photographing your work?
Any way of compensating for light? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I would go to using a Diva light. You can also go outside, and if you're in an area, if your shop maybe at the back of your salon or at the front of your salon, if you're in a shaded area where there's some natural light, but it's not direct, you can shoot it out there. So those would be the simple ways of doing it. But the ring lights are very, very popular, and they're very easy to use. I usually have 2 or 3 of them. So I'd have one on one side, one on the other, and maybe another one to fill in. The great thing about that, what you see with those lights is what you get. It's not like flash, where a flash pops off and sometimes you're not sure of the light and everything else. So go on to Amazon, and if you don't already have a ring light, get one, maybe get 2, and play with it. And they're also very, very friendly with your phone as well. Another thing, go outside. Natural daylight is one of the most beautiful ways of making everybody look gorgeous because it's shadowless. But you've got to be out of the sun, but you've got to be in an area where you've got the sun brightening up that shaded area. And then just get a little whiteboard. You can have a little pillow sheet. You could have a little background. Or maybe you have on the streets, play. That's the secret, I think, about understanding your lights.
Absolutely.
Did that answer that?
Yes, that answered that. There's a few more questions, but I know Vivienne had a question.
Yeah, let me just make a comment about this, and then we'll go back to Rosemary. So it's really interesting how the deconstruction of this is taking it somewhere so completely different, isn't it, Damien?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So could you just tell me what you want me to do here? Do you want me to roll it up, or do you want me to do a braid and push it like deconstruct a rope braid and put it there?
I would just take it down, hold it in your hands, and I would wrap it under, and tuck it under.
Tuck it under, like this.
But when you tuck it under, Viv, what you're going to do is maybe pin it to secure it, and then you're going to break up that roll by giving it a little bit of texture with your fingers. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So let me just go back so that people can see us closer, and we're going to go back to Rosemary's questions.
Yeah, you're doing great, my love. You're the perfect student, and I don't know how on earth I'm sitting here telling you what to do.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Well, because you know what, I love your aesthetic, so I want to be inside your head. I know what's in my head: scrambled eggs.
Yeah. But what's great about the look that you're doing is you set a great foundation for your first look. And I think that's where I have failed, right? And maybe through experience, a lot of people don't set the foundation. So your foundation has to go with your concept, your foundation using the right tools, the setting tools, the products that you're going to use, pins, whatever you're going to need. There you go. The spike. I like that. I've got one of those. Those are good. Yeah.
You do this with it too, like go in there and really mess it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Love it. Love it.
You actually hurt someone with this. You should see me with spaghetti. You know, when my grandma and I I remember this as a child, we went to Italy for the first time. I think I was like 7 years old, and grandma was sitting there really prim and proper, knife and fork, you never shovel, right? Very prim and proper. We had spaghetti for the very first time, and Granny didn't know what to do, so she's mindfully cutting up these little tiny pieces, and then it's falling through the fork, and she just doesn't know how to eat it. So the waiter comes along and he gets the fork and he does this and he spins it around and then he does this and he actually feeds Granny, and she's like, oh, this is way too much food. And we'd never eaten pasta before. Isn't that amazing?
That is so British and so beautiful.
So British.
Oh, lovely. It's like just get in there and, dive in it. Italians have their food.
So is it okay to do that and pull it apart?
Yes. So what you could do is great. Get a few bobby pins in there to give you your support and get it tucked under. And then afterwards, what you'll do is just destroy it a little bit. Yeah. So it doesn't look so rolly. Whoa. You have got everything, my love. Too funny.
Yeah, you're jealous of that, aren't you? You want it. Maybe I'll give it to you for Christmas. My angry
will? Oh, I'd love one. That would be, I'd keep it forever. So instantly, Viv, again, it's changed the silhouette. It's going to make the neck look longer. You're going to have a focus of the hair going up. Again, when hair goes up and away on a lot of people, you've instantly got a very lifting shape. And it gives that illusion of the body being more vertical, right, Viv?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of, total look, yeah. And what's important, I think, what you're doing is you're not really using a lot of your back. I mean, you've done a bit of back combing, but you're using your fingers in your hands.
Yes, and you said that was really important for this. To my hands.
Yeah, I mean, like you, I've watched certain hairdressers in the editorial world in a studio, and I would have done X, Y, Z, and they come along and they just put their hands through and loosen it up, and I think, oh, blooming now. It looks amazing. So that, I mean, again, I think is the secret to creating these textures. The texture is going to determine whether your shape's going to look modern or whether it's going to look something from the past. And with education, it's important.
So just go further with that. The texture makes it look modern when it's putting more rawness into it. Is that what you're saying? It's
putting more rawness. And also, I think it's relative to today, Vivienne. The texture that you've put into the hair, I think is more now. Versus if something's too perfect, it can look a little retro or a little frumpy. So I think when we look at texture is soft, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, providing we don't go overboard if this was on a client, but we're not doing a client, we're doing a model, we're doing a photo shoot. So we want the camera to take a picture of this and to really celebrate that texture and the silhouette that you've got. I think it looks great.
It does look nice. And do you like using water to just make either it collapse or get more energy? Do you like
I've never ever done that. Wow.
Yeah, well, I like it because and sometimes when you have it, obviously, like my hair is naturally wavy.
Yeah.
So if you put moisture, I look like Einstein,
Yeah.
which is really not attractive. I'm sorry, Einstein. You may have had a great brain, but it's not really good. Red hair, and that. I don't even look like Shirley Temple.
Wow.
But
Can we have a picture of that someday? Can we post that?
Yeah, really. But a little bit of water, it just kind of like hydrates it and just gives it
Yep.
that little. I don't know. To me, it's like a freshening it up. You know when the makeup artist puts the dew?
Yep.
I don't know what it's called. Do you know what it's called, Rosemary?
I do not.
They
Setting spray, I think.
And everything then starts to glow. All right, now we're going to go over there. Go back to your questions, Rosemary.
Certainly.
Looks great, Viv.
Thank you.
I think I love the subtle progression that you've gone through it, you know, and for us as hairdressers, we can go from A to Z very quickly. You're going in stages and then you're evaluating which one you're going to obviously end up and you're going to like. Very important.
Yes. So one of the Facebook users wanted to know, do you have a specific product line that you like to work with more so than others to achieve the looks you're looking for?
To be honest with you, and this is not, you know, just for peace sake or politics or everything. I've worked for several companies, you know, through my life. I think there's good, bad, and ugly in every brand. Today, I think most brands, there's a lot of products that are really very, very good. It's like finding a bad color line. It's almost impossible these days. I think when it comes to product, I think it's learning how to work with it and understanding the job that it's supposed to do and understanding what product you're going to use for a specific look. I rarely use serums. I rarely use oils. I rarely use gels unless I'm going for that look, because once they're in the hair, they can be very difficult to manipulate because it'll either weigh the hair down. But if it's a specific look I'm doing, then that's the kind of look. So obviously you're working with a brand right now, so stay with that unless there's something missing from that brand that you might want to cherry pick from another brand. Maybe you prefer a better dry shampoo, or maybe there's a texturizing product that is better within a different brand. It's just understanding how much to put on and to work with it. If you put it on dry, if you put it on wet, what happens if you put it on curly, what happens if you put it on straight. It's just understanding it. And that to me was a big learning lesson for me, understanding how products work.
Got it. Carl Robinson from Vancouver asked, do you still use studio lighting in shoots?
Yes, I do, because that's basically a hobby of mine. You know, that's what I kind of got into. I use flash, but I also will do a lot of daylight as well. As I said earlier, daylight is available to us all. From a photographer's point of view, there is only one source, and that is the sun. So it lights up our world, right? Yes. And it changes from morning to evening, and it's very, very flattering. Think of Peter Lindbergh. Think of, you know, all of those kind of black and whites where a lot of daylight's used. It's very flattering, great on adding a little bit of drama in black and whites. But I use flash, but, you know, I use my iPhone. To me, sometimes it's not the tools, it's what you're going to capture and the essence of beauty. You can have 1,000 pairs of shears on your belt, but you're only going to use one or two of them. Yeah. Right. So that's to me the same with using it. And it's just understanding the lighting scenario. Learn to work with different lights at different stages, but choose one. Don't do them all, otherwise you end up with the overload.
Great. And last question before you guys continue on, which is absolutely amazing, this journey, is a Facebook user says, do you think it's best to find a model and work with the hair that she has, or know what you want to do and find the model to suit it?
I think this is where I used to go wrong, and I don't know how you feel, Viv, but I used to try and force something on a model that basically she didn't want to have done. So, of course, somebody that's very photogenic, if she's a professional model or not a professional model, she may not want my crazy hairstyles. So I always work around. There's always a way that we can always work around anything in life. A negative scenario, turn it into positive. So if she doesn't want to have it cut or colored, I'll make a wig. I'll put pieces in it. I will direct my concept more around the model. It's the model that makes the picture look great. Yeah. And I think often we see hairstyles, as I have done, I plonk the hairstyle on the wrong person that just doesn't project. Even on my Facebook or Instagram, they don't have to be professional models. They've got to look like they're enjoying and wearing it. So find your model, If she's a great model, work with her as often as you can. The more you do, the better it gets, and build your concepts around her. And we can use wigs, we can use extensions, and the world can be your oyster.
Great.
Great questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I'm sure Vivienne has the next step.
Well, yeah, I think it's an interesting evolution when we look at where we began and like where we are now in our evolution of just looking at these shapes. And obviously, it's just, you know, I have this thing that I like to use, Damien, which I call it the 3 wheels of fashion, how quiet or loud. So it's gone louder. Yep. Where she lives in fashion, like what is that sensibility? And then how feminine or not. And I find that's a really good guide for me, staying focused and not getting either caught in the detail that it starts to drift off bigger than I anticipated. And I didn't realize it got large. And then when I see her on set, it's like, this was my story and I've gone off somewhere else, which sometimes is better, but sometimes that doesn't work. And I have to be reined back in by the photographer or the art director. And I think that's really, really important, that willingness to play and experiment. So where would you take this next? Have I gone to the point of no return?
No, you could do other things. You could pull, maybe what you could do is flatten the front a little bit. Maybe you could pull out the crown a little bit, and maybe you could make the nape hair a little tighter. Yes, I think 1960s silhouette, you know, there you go. You just doing what you're doing with the hands now changes the actual silhouette of the whole kind of look. Right, Viv?
Right, so we bring that down there and then
and pull that out a lot more, really exaggerate it. Yeah.
Now, I know that what people will be thinking would be like, oh my gosh, but what about it's getting messy, right? So you want me to take that up?
Yeah, there you go. You just by doing that, just transforms your shape just silhouette wise into something that's a little different from what you've done before, right? But you're still using the texture. Now, if the hair is a little too messy, then all you would do is maybe you would get a little finishing brush, and maybe you might skate over the hair to, you know, eliminate a little bit of the frizziness. But I have to say, I think when we're working, Viv, that sometimes you have to stay true to who you are and what you want to do and what you want it to be. Yes. For me, this is a look that I think is very refreshing. It's almost like this is the daughter of the mother, which is your first look. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So to me, that looks really, really kind of cool. And again, you could kind of flatten it, but maybe what you do, Vivienne, you know, use your fingers and flatten the sides and the top, and you just put a little bobby pin. Doesn't have to be perfect.
To show or not to show?
Not to show. Just just to tuck it away, just so it flattens the sides. But using your fingers is like it's like a big jumbo comb, or it'll give you these little strands of texture that you don't get with a brush. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to use this Japanese pin and I'm going to cinch it in that way. I'm going to sew.
Oh, you're clever. You're clever.
So I'm going to come through here and just sew this.
Yep.
So that I can really cinch it all the way around, and then I can shape it to the head.
Yes. Good job.
So that's that. So then with this, you want that flatter?
Yeah, a little flatter. And what you could do is maybe get your fingers and kind of, you know, direct the hair back a little. That's it. There you go. Yeah. And what you could do is you could use a bit of product or a bit of water. Yeah. Yeah, that looks cool. So it's not dead flat, right, Viv?
No.
It's not like you gel the hair away. But it's, again, brought the structure down. But what it's doing to the face, it's making the face become more angular here, isn't it, Viv, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So I'll take one more picture of that. Should I bring that up there or leave it like that?
You could fill that out a little bit, yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, that's cool. Put a little bobby pin in it. That looks nice to me. Yeah, just that one bit there, yeah. You can flatten that down or, you know, put it in place.
So this is something I love to do, which is my sewing. I like to sew through here.
Yeah.
And then from that sewing, I can always pull out some pieces too, because not everything's cinched.
Yes.
But it would like take that down a little tiny bit.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And then the same on the that part doesn't look very good.
But it gives you control, so you can, you know, put it in, you can take it out without disturbing a lot of your look.
So what drives your passion, Damien?
I like to play, Viv, just like you're saying. I get bored very quickly.
Yes.
And the older I get, it seems to be an ongoing problem. So I want to make myself happy, and I want to, get out of bed and love my work. So my photography does that. My seminars, my education, shapes looking cool. Just that one bit there that's dangling out. There you go. Bring, just tuck it in. And I think, I love to experiment, and I love to continually learn, Viv. What I learned 10 years ago, 5 years ago, is still embedded in us, right? We still use it.
Absolutely.
But we have to, as you always have said, we've got to keep ourselves current. And that's where a lot of people will fail in business, building a successful client. You can end up growing old with your things. So I love watching different cutting techniques. I love to watch videos. I love it all. I want to constantly keep moving forward. But they're little steps, Vivienne,
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I loved obviously creating with my camera and experimenting with things that I've never done before.
So, Damien, what would you say are the three top qualities required to be a great session or editorial stylist? People who are obviously not based in the salon, just clarify that for our listeners. They're not based in the salon. They're based in either a studio, they're working within fashion, entertainment industry, but they're working somehow behind a camera. What are the three qualities that separate the good from the not so good?
You really have to have a good skill set of your creativity, and you also have to have a good skill set regarding your techniques, right, Viv?
Yes.
So you have to have a balance of both of those. I think you have to be very aware of what's going on in fashion. You need to know your hair history like the back of your hand, because there'll be times where you're constantly delving into that to bring that to life, to make it modern for today. So for me, understanding the hair, understanding what hair does when you set it, understanding your product. So those are kind of like the skill sets. Another great quality is being able to understand, digest, and also bring to life a concept. So what is a concept? It could be 20s hair with a futuristic look, with couture clothes, and you're shooting in the desert. But you want the hair to look and match those kind of looks. What would that be? Well, I don't know. I'd have to do some research. So understanding the concept is really important, because your hair is not only an important part of a concept from top to bottom, but it's also got to complement the makeup, wardrobe, and the concept that is in hand. And I think that's really important. Going away from that can sometimes make it have some advantages, but going away from it too much, you're not going to be able to make your livelihood, because you don't understand what the client wants or the objectives that are set out. Another final thing is just have brilliant energy. Always be polite, professional. Bring your talent, not only just to do hair, but bring your energy on set with your model, your clients, and your makeup artist, that people love to work with you. In addition, you're an incredible hairdresser. So that, to me, I think is really, really important. You'll constantly get jobs from your personality and your skill set. Been a pain in the butt, people don't want to work with you. And I've experienced that, and I've done that, and I've been guilty, and I've learned my lesson.
Yes, absolutely. And as we can clearly see, not every angle works with what I'm doing, but this is just photo journaling to show you the evolution from where we began.
Yep.
Way over here. Let's just get to it.
I love the image on the left where it's kind of flatter and a bit boxy.
Yes, yeah.
And right, as you said, Viv, what we have to understand when you're doing textural looks or looks that you've created with your hands, they're not going to work from all angles. Because if you start fixing those pieces, you'll end up with a uniform round ball, right?
Yes, absolutely. So from there where we were to here, let me just take that one right there.
Yeah.
When you compare, there to there, it's quite a journey. And that's a different person, it's a different sensibility totally from that relaxed and undone as she's journeyed through to where we've ended up today. So pretty amazing. So I thank you, Damien, for taking me on that incredible journey. That was a whole lot of fun.
And that's difficult because you're in over there, in the Hamptons, and I'm in New York. We're not together, but we did it through this method. But I think what's really important is that, some people like and some people don't. You can't please everybody. And I think what you've done is you've made it look a little bit more fashion.
Yes.
I think you've made her look cooler, and I think she would fit in with her friends.
Yeah,
and enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with what you did before. There's a place for everything, right? And it's just called energy, and it's called your technique and your art and your feeling. Who are you? What do you want to be? What is your statement here? But that looks gorgeous. But again, all down to the foundation that you set, Viv.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what do you think of it? Rubbish, yes. As we go on up. So what I wanted to just share.
Bravo.
Well, thank you, Damien. Thank you. I think it was a fun exercise. So I think the most important thing for everyone to realize is that the photo journaling can actually take place with when people come to me, Damien, workshops, and clearly I'm a photographer, but what I do is I journal, and I try and teach through the eyes of the camera, because I think the camera has taught me so much in terms of shape, balance, and proportion. What has it done for you? How has photography changed the work that you do in the salon?
It's transformed it, Vivienne, because what I see with my eye and in a mirror and what I see with the camera, there's a difference. And it's the detail, even with my iPhone. If I take a picture, I'll take a picture of my friend's client, just go check this, and I can see if it's straight or not. I know it's straight when I look at it. So the camera is that other eye that sometimes we don't have. And I think what's really important is we could be so busy in a salon that we end up become a production line. And I think the camera, what it does is it basically brings another skill set. When a client comes into my chair, I don't want her to walk out of a salon with a salon hairdo. I want her to walk out the salon with a great haircut and color that looks like she's on the streets of New York and she's going to see her friends. So just by loosening up the hair, using your hands can make, when somebody wants something sexy, I put down the brush and I loosen it up with my hands. That's sexy hair. It's touchable and it's breathable. So I would urge everybody, take pictures of your clients. At the end, I think, see if there's a pattern there with your techniques. See if you're repeating so much technique-wise on every single person that sometimes may not be suitable. So it's a great learning tool, and my world changed once I started taking pictures of my work.
Does anything intimidate you in hair?
Used to. I mean, scissor over comb, working with afro hair or curly hair. I wouldn't say no. I mean, but I'm older now, Viv. So I've kind of managed to control that negative fear of the nervousness of not understanding what the hair does. I'm at an age in my career that I'm willing to try anything. Get a mannequin out, I'll cut it, I'll hack it, I'll learn from my mistakes. But truly what you've always taught me and what you've always been about on your education platform is really understanding the client, understanding the hair, suitability, and the value of beauty. So thankfully, no, fear is good, but we have to control it in a very positive way. Otherwise it ends up, we never move forward because it gets too much into us.
Yeah. So then when something goes differently to how you planned with all this experience, or you have this vision and then maybe it doesn't hit quite that mark, how do you manage? Do you have disappointment? And if so, how do you manage the disappointment so you don't beat yourself up? Because the level that you play at is very high and it's hard to stay brilliant with every single thing you do. So talk to me about that.
Well, I think what happens is you obviously have an idea about something, right? You've got something in your mind that you picture that you're going to do. But there are times and situations where that doesn't work. Maybe it could be the hair. Maybe it was the technique that you could have practiced more. Things just aren't going. I'll often, if things aren't going the way that I originally thought it was going to go, I will turn left and I will turn right very sharply. Because at the end of the day, what I've learned, but this is just my sense of style, I end up beating myself and it ain't working. The model's closed. Why are we get the wardrobe, and before everyone goes, oh, that's beautiful, I get her in the camera, take 2 pictures, looks great. We don't like this or my hair. So you've got to make a decision there and then. It's almost like creative chaos. You've got to control it. And at the end of the day, if you can trust your instincts, and I think know how you work yourself. I work better under those pressures. The curls dropped in the hair. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have to switch gear and maybe work with that texture as it is. Or I recurl it. Maybe I don't have the time. Sometimes going a little off kilter is a good thing, but you've got to learn how to manipulate it. But it's easier for me if I'm the photographer because I can change things by doing that. I'm not working where the photographer says, oh, I want the hair 6 foot tall now, and the hair's all battered at the end of the day. I'm like, really? That's not going to happen. Right, Viv?
What are the 3 most valuable lessons that you've learned during your career that have made you who you are today?
The training. The story, but at the age of 27, 26, I retrained at Trevor Sorbie. I was a confident young guy, you know, I was working in a salon, but there was a light bulb moment, and that came from one program, educational, called Weller Vogue. It was a photographic competition with Vogue and Weller, and Trevor was performing with a presentation that night. I looked at his work, and I literally, my mouth was open, and the hair on my arm stood up. I was so amazed by what it did. I wrote a letter, got a job, did my retraining, but it was the retraining that you and the rest of the team at that time gave me, helped me to become the better person. So that was the biggest learning thing. I stepped backwards a huge amount, ate a lot of humble pie, had my work critiqued, but then I really sharpened up my skills that I'm very thankful for where I am today. I wouldn't be in New York doing what I'm doing if that had never happened. But that happened because I went to a hair event, a presentation that lasted 2 hours, and that changed my life.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing. How do you define beauty?
Beauty could be, it doesn't have to, you know, doing a lot of my photo shoots, which I'm not doing all the time, by the way, everybody, I do a lot of hair, but I see beauty in everything. I think everybody is beautiful. And I think, you know, a home could be beautiful, a chair could be beautiful, nature can be beautiful. And I think thankfully today in the world of beauty and fashion magazines, we are celebrating more body shapes, skin colors, ethnicities, and actual face shapes and so forth. The modeling world of today would never have existed 10 or 15, 20 years ago because there weren't supermodels. So there are supermodels and they are supermodels, but it's not so relevant for today. So to me, beauty is if I'm doing their hair, I want that hair to look beautiful on them, regardless of their face shape, regardless of whatever I'm working on.
What's your greatest fear?
Failure. Failure of not doing my best. You know, the same things probably you or everybody that's listening to. If I'm cutting hair technical, is it technical enough? Or if it needs loosening up, is it loosening? You know, I need some approval, but if I listen to all these things going around in my head, I'd never go anywhere, would we?
No.
So I think it's important to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. I don't think you can do everything. I think you become a jack of all trades. So I've chosen the things that I really love in hair. And I just want to be the best. But more importantly, and especially in today's world with what's going on, is to be with people that, you know, it's fun, it's learning, and it's appreciation for each other and a respect for each other. And I think that's really the key secret, that, you know, give a little bit of love, you know. Yeah. I wasn't the brightest light bulb on the tree. You know, when I was to shampoo, somebody'd look at me, I'd go bright red. But there are certain people in my life, give me a hug, thank you, you can do this, and the rest is history. So I'm a great believer in that.
Absolutely, that's amazing. I've so enjoyed my time with you. You're such an inspiration, and I want to play more with you. I definitely do. A message of hope or inspiration to our friends watching.
Well, we've all been through a lot, and you doing what you've been doing has lit up many an afternoon of dullness for people at home. And I've watched every single one. Thank you for having me. But we've got to reset the button, haven't we? We've got to look at what we do. We've got to go back to our salons, and we've got to look at things that, you know, we can improve on. You know, look a little sharper, give those clients the best that we can do. Continue your education. Save a little bit of money, because next year you're going to be doing some education, guys. Step outside the salon to invest. Your dreams. Have you been thinking about your dreams lately? I have. I should have done this. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this after we get back to normal. I've got certain things that I want to do. And most important, when you do go back to your salon, don't overwork yourself, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of clients that want you. You'll end up, you know, draining yourself. Always follow your dreams. And most important, just be you. Because you're unique, everybody's got some creativity, everybody can be beautiful, and everybody can make a great living out of such a beautiful industry.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Damien, and I wish you continued success. I love you.
Oh, and we'll catch up, Viv, and we were going to do something, absolutely, and I can't thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you for everything that you do for everybody out there, and your passion and everything, because is the same as the first day that I ever met you, and that is a rare, rare find. So bless you.
You make me cry.
Oh, it's true, my love.
So much. Thank you.
All right.
Guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being with us, and take care. And we will see you very, very
Bye,
very
Rosa Marie. Bye, Vivienne. Thank you to everyone.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
sweetheart.